Are you lost on Terra 6 in Rebel Transmute? Because a lot of people seem to be getting lost on Terra 6 in Rebel Transmute. So I'm going to show you a critical path. It is not the only critical path. It is not the only way of doing this, and I highly recommend venturing off the critical path in order to find upgrades, because the critical path, as I've got it laid out here, is going to ramp up in difficulty. It's not an easy game. But if you are just thinking about, I do not know where to go next, this is the order that I would recommend doing things in. The map that I'm going to show you in this guide is based on, but is not the entirety of, my Rebel Transmute map guide, which is available on coffee.com and will at some point be available in my Google Drive, available through demajen.co.uk. But it's not there yet, and it's not going to be there for a while. So this will be a glimpse at it, and possibly all you need to get you through the game if you're happy with exploring on your own. Let us begin. We start off, usefully enough, where it says game starts. Start here, and you're going to want to go through this route here. This is the critical path. Again, it's not the only path, it is the critical path. Make your way down, can't get through the purple barrier here, make your way down through the save room, up here, across here, until you get to the little room with the spaceship in. You'll need to go in there because there's a fuse in there that you'll need, and you get your map module there, and unless you know this game incredibly well, you're going to want the map. And to be honest, you can't even get to the fuse, I don't think, unless you pick up the map. Up through here, up through the fuse door, so that's 0 fuses in your inventory. You are going to need to grab a fuse the next time you come back here. We'll talk about that in a second. Make your way down, talk to Anaya in this vendor room here. You have to do this, otherwise you can't make progress through the game. Make your way down into the doorway here, rescue Drift, Apprentice Drift. You'll need to rescue Apprentice Drift so that the shop up here will stock fuses. You don't need to go back and get that just yet. There'll be opportunity coming up. Make your way down all the way across here, up here. If you're feeling confident, you can go straight left and fight the boss. Otherwise, make your way up, unlock the shortcut and save here and come back down. Fight the boss and get the Humming Symbiote, which allows you to get through these purple blocks, which you'll see all over the place. The only ones that I've marked on specifically are the ones in the start area because they block off certain pathways. So as soon as you've got that, you get yourself access through here to the elevator. That is step 1 done. Step 2 is getting ourselves the air dash, and this is actually pretty straightforward, though a little bit circuitous. Make your way down through the elevator into this long shaft in the quarry. Grab yourself the save point while you are here. Always go slightly off the beaten path, even if I don't note it, to grab your save points. Make your way down and across and up through this wave room here. Yes, you can go underneath it and go around that way. Don't. You'll thank me for it later. Make your way through the wave room, take the recharge point there, go up, up and up and up. 100% make sure that you grab this teleporter here because we will be coming back to that later. Into the room to the right. Make sure you grab the recharge point in the room here because this room actually is a little bit of a pain in the ass to navigate. There's a couple of really hard hitting enemies that are quite difficult to avoid. And head yourself up, defeat the boss, get yourself the Shimmering Symbiote, which allows you to air dash. And that is step 2 complete. Step 3 is going to save us some time in the long run. So from the Shimmering Symbiote room, make your way down and right. You can save here if you want to. I highly recommend that you do. Down into this room here, up, and use the air dash to get across to the right. If you want to, and you might want to do this, I recommend once you get to this first pink room in the coal fissure, that you break through that wall there to pick yourself up a battery. That'll help you out in the long run because you're going to need the extra battery to equip some of the stuff that we'll get later on. Head right, down, hit the recharge / save room if you want to, down into this section here, and grab Quirk, the NPC that you'll need to do much of the game. This will save you having to come back later. Could you technically avoid getting this now? Yeah, I think probably you could, but don't. Grab her while you are here. Step 3, complete. Step 4 is going to take us towards the bombs. So make your way up after getting Quirk, back up this room. It can be a little bit of a pain in the ass if you're not really very good at the bubble related stuff to get back up there. So if you want a slightly alternate and maybe easier route, you can just head up this way and back around, but you're still going to have to do the bubble thing, and it might be a good idea to get some practice in climbing up the bubble stuff. So make your way up through here, hop along the bottom. There are some little blue blocks which disappear if you stand on them for too long here. Use those as stepping stones. Get yourself up out of the coal fissure and into the overgrowth. From the overgrowth room, there's a couple of ways that you can go. You can head up and hit the save point, or you can make your way over to the right hand side of this room. And there's 2 ways of going here. They both get you to the same place. They're both fairly straightforward. You can either go down and up through here, which is the way that I did it, or you can also go up here, use the switches to turn the fans on and make your way up and head over this way. But you want to end up, first of all, at the save room, break the wall to unlock the teleporter. Again, this is an important one. You are going to need to come back here a fair number of times during this playthrough. From the teleporter / save room, hop your way over to the right, in through the windy area, down. There's a second save point here. This one you've got to actually pay for to repair, so if you've got the cash, I recommend it. And then you'll be wanting to fight the boss and grab the sticky bombs. This is a 2-phase fight. It is not the easiest fight with what equipment you will have by this point, but if you've gone off the beaten track and maybe made your way over to the blaster upgrade person, that works as well. Get yourself the bombs, and that is step 4 complete. Step 5 is going to take us up to get the spin bounce. From the symbiote, make your way up through the boss room. You can save again if you want to recharge your health, but up through the boss room, practice using the sticky bombs to break through the barriers and make your way up and over past the NPC here. If you want to talk to the NPC and get the Ocuvisor, you can do. That will allow you to see up and down a little bit further. It's not required for completing the game, but it's free and you may as well get it on your way past. Through here, down, and into this long room with a load of acid and stuff in, if I remember correctly. Break your way through the barrier and into this room to the left. Now, if you found this fight quite troublesome and thought that you were a little bit weak on power and have not already done so, I recommend following the line, the solid line, all the way through the left, up and over there. You can't get through the laser stuff without the wall climb, but you can take the route underneath it, up the room here, and get yourself your first blaster upgrade, which is free in the sense that you don't have a crystal requirement for it. So you'll get yourself a +1 blaster. Then you can make your way back down the right hand side of the room, through here, grab yourself the teleporter, up through here, across, and to here. Now, if you weren't concerned about the blaster upgrade, or you're trying to do a minimum power run or something crazy like that, you can actually get up this way. There is a barrier that looks like it will prevent you making your way up, but there's an enemy that shoots spikes in a kind of cross pattern, and it will actually shoot the switch if you are close enough and you wait for it. So you can shortcut up there if you don't want the blaster upgrade. It's quite helpful though for the next boss. So whichever way you get to here, through the wave room, up and over, fight the boss. The boss actually isn't super challenging whether you've got the blaster upgrade or not. But then you can get yourself the Centrifugal Symbiote, which allows you to spin bounce on things. It's also where you will now have access to the bomb jump. To do a bomb jump, and you'll be doing bomb jumps quite a lot for the rest of the critical route, you want to plant a bomb on the ground at your feet and then press L2 to bounce on it, and you'll get yourself a huge amount of extra height. In fact, you could do that in this room to take yourself further right. You don't want to. Certainly not at this stage. In fact, you're probably never going to want to unless you desperately want the augment that's in there. But realistically, don't bother. Make your way back into the left, and there's a save room down here. Why the save room is after the boss, I don't know. But it is currently. Whether Evan will change that in the future, I don't know. That is step 5 complete. Step 6 will allow us to get the wall climb. From the boss room, make your way back down here to the teleporter. If you hadn't already picked up the teleporter, now's your opportunity to grab the teleporter and teleport down to the quarry, or across to the quarry, I suppose. This is why we grabbed this before we picked up the Shimmering Symbiote. Make your way down through the door, all the way down to this room here. Now, if you'd been to this room before, rather than going up through the wave room, you might have noticed that in the bottom left hand corner there were a couple of weird little round metal orb things, and you couldn't do anything with them. Well, now you can, because they will react quite nicely with your spin bounce. So spin bounce across them, make your way into this room. I'd recommend using the recharge station here as well, just to save your game. All the way down into this room and down into this main chamber here. And you'll see that this section of the map looks quite messy. And it looks quite messy because you've got a couple of... I'm not entirely sure these are mandatory. But I tried doing the section without hitting these two switches, and it's a pain in the ass, and you've only got limited health. So I would recommend getting these. And you can do these switches in either order. So make your way around. I've got them going this way simply because it avoids overlapping lines on the map. But make your way down, grab yourself the recharge point and the teleporter. This is a repair teleporter, so you'll need to pay for that. You can head down here, get yourself the switch that slows down the yellow conveyor belts that are all over this section of the map. You can get across into this room where there is a weapon crystal, but you can't properly get to it yet unless you are prepared to take a load of damage and potentially die. This room is full of enemies, and you can actually spin bounce up to get the crystal, which is in the top of the room, which you need to shoot. You can get it, and I know this because I tested it, but then I died on the way out. If you're better than me, you can probably do it without dying and pick yourself up a weapon crystal and then teleport back and get an extra upgrade. But either way, you need a switch flipped here which slows down the yellow conveyors, and a switch up here which slows down the green crushers. Once you have got those, you can make your way through these two rooms here, which are full of green crushers and yellow conveyors. Make your way across. Through this room here, you'll have to kill an enemy in order to open that door. Spin bounce down through this barrier here. You can't get anywhere else here. Across, down, down, down. Save your game here. Highly recommended. Get yourself down into Destination 6 to end off Step 6 by defeating the big drill boss and grabbing the Clawed Symbiote, which is your wall climb. Now that we've got the wall climb, we are on to the main 3 objectives of the kind of middle to late game, which is shutting off 3 control consoles. And this is what you need Quirk for, which is why we picked her up really early, because otherwise we're going to have to go out of our way to grab her now. So from the Clawed Symbiote, make your way up and out of this room. This room requires wall climbing realistically to get through. Make your way over and teleport all the way over to the overgrowth. From here, Make your way up. You've got all the tools to climb up here now. You can wall climb and use the fans up here and get yourself to this big middle room. There's only one way you can go from here. You don't have the tools to go anywhere else. So make your way over to the right. It's not particularly challenging platforming. There are some red bubbly sections where you will want to be very careful because they will reset your position. Make your way over into the fan control room or the oxygen extraction control. There are 3 switches that you need to hit in this chamber in rapid succession. And there are some of those plants that you might have noticed that create little spin bounce platforms for you. There's one in the top left, one in the top right, and one down at the bottom. Very, very easy to do this one, even with limited dexterity such as I have. And as soon as you've activated that, then these fans will all start coming to life. You're going to need to use these for the next step, but that's step 7 complete. Step 8. From the oxygen extraction control, you've got 2 paths, but I would highly recommend grabbing the Super Dash Augment while you can, because it is really, really useful for the mid to end game. So make your way out into this room, and you'll notice that all of these fans have now become little kind of launch points that you can jump into. Ping pong yourself around the room, get yourself up into the ceiling. It takes a few goes, it'll take some practice, and use the fan in the middle of this room to smash yourself through this room, through this barrier into this room to the left, where you can get the Super Dash Augment. You'll want to equip this when you get yourself back down here and into the recharge station. Use the fans to blast yourself through. Make your way down to this room. You can't get to this fan yet. You'll have to go down, up through the building using the wall climb, jump over the top, take the fan here, smash yourself back through this way so that you can use it as a shortcut should you die. Back again, use the fan to get upwards, wall climb and so on and so forth. Fan at the top, smash through this barrier here, get yourself facing off against boss 8, which is the big worm. The big worm is a long fight. So if, as I said earlier, you were feeling a little bit squishy or a little bit weak after this enemy, grabbing that optional weapon crystal from here and heading back to the welder up here to upgrade your blaster might be worthwhile. And you can figure out how to do that yourself at this point. You've been through a lot of rooms on the map. But as soon as you got yourself through there and grabbed the Pressurised Symbiote, you've got the Super Dash ability, which will be absolutely necessary for the next step of the game. Step 9 has a couple of optional detours depending on what you have or have not done by this point in the game. From the Pressurised Symbiote room, make your way out to the right, down through the barriers, save your game at the big central chamber, and make your way down to where you picked up the Occuvisor and the NPC is there. I would 100% at this point head left and get the Augment that is kind of a double jump. It's very easy to get with the bits and pieces that you've got now. Even if you didn't grab the Air Super Dash, you can get this easy. Wall climb up here, shoot your way over to the left with the Pressurised Symbiote, the Super Dash, and grab yourself it's essentially a jetpack style thing. Gives you a booster on your second button press when you are jumping in the air. It is going to make the platforming for the rest of the game much, much easier, and will give you access to, or easier access to, a few of the harder platforming challenges and weapon crystals that you can get, again, if you are feeling a little bit underpowered. The second detour, after you've come all the way back to where you were here, is to head to the teleporter, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you head to this room here to grab a second fuse from the vendor. This is why you rescued the apprentice right at the start of the game in step 1. If you haven't got the fuse, you can't do the next bit on the path that I have set out. So you want to be doing that. Making sure you've got your fuse, head back down from the teleporter through this room all the way down to the bottom using your sticky bombs to blow up the things, because you might not have been through this point. before. And down here, there is a fuse door. Through the fuse door, head yourself down into this chamber. If you want to take a little detour to talk to this vendor and maybe pick up another fuse, you don't actually need one for the rest of the playthrough. You're actually done with fuse doors. But if you are planning on 100% in the game at some point, you will want to grab another fuse because you'll need it to get to various bits and pieces. So that's a detour that you can take if you want to, but you don't need to. Down into this chamber here, you'll flick a switch at the bottom here, which will open up doors left and right. You're going to use that later. Heading left here, you'll see that there is a passageway going down. Don't take it. Head to the left, break through the barrier here, because otherwise you'll have to do some jiggery-pokery when you head back this way at a later point. Down through this room here to this chamber here. Now, if you hit a switch there and jump back over and super dash across, you can grab the Phase Blaster Augments. This is optional, realistically, but there is one place later on in the game where having that equipped will be useful if you've got the battery power for it, which if you've only picked up the one battery and you're using both of these augments, you're not likely to have yet. Make your way down into the sunken basin, which is a big watery place. Grab yourself the save points. Optionally, you can use a bomb on the door lock down at the bottom here. You'll be coming back round to it from the other side anyway, but it works, so grab it. Here's an opportunity to practice your bomb jumping to rescue Apprentice Pearl. It is not mandatory to do this, but again, it will unlock another fuse as well as some more kind of health upgrades and stuff. So you might want to do that. Make your way up and over into this room. Follow the water current. You can't really go anywhere else in the water current because of these locked valve tubes. Make your way up. If you've got the double jump augment, this is nice and easy. Otherwise, you've got to do a little bit of air dashing around there. Grab yourself the save points and the teleporter. You'll probably want to use the teleporter later on. From the teleporter / save point, make your way over to the right and into this room where you have got a console in the middle of the room which will lower the water and open these valve doors. This will enable you to get in and down through the currents, in and down through the currents and into the lower half of the zone, all the way across here. If you didn't unlock this door previously, you can do it now. Otherwise, head to the left here. Don't take the first pipe up like I do all the time because that's just going to send you in a loop. Head down left through the wave room, up and into this room here, which has a second valve control terminal. You'll want to hit this, which will lower the water. Save your game in this room and then make your way through into here. You will need to use the super dash in this room to get across before the barriers come down. That is why we went and did the one up in the top right hand corner first. Otherwise you literally can't get to this bit as far as I can tell. Make your way up, defeat the boss in here, and then head through up into this chamber here to get the breathing symbiotes, which will allow you to dash underwater, and it will also enable you to build up momentum when you leap from a height and splash down into water. You'll see that there are kind of some speed lines around you if you've got enough height before you hit the water, and then you'll turn into some kind of shine, sparky, aquatic-y form type thing. That will enable you to do the next step. So that is step 9. Step 10 is short, but a little bit tricksy. From the breathing symbiote room, you can head back down through here. You don't need to go down to the right. You can head back through. I went and double checked this. Back through into this room. You can save your game again if you want to. Hit the valve control terminal again to raise the water, and using your newfound underwater dash, you can dash down through the crushy pipe, dash up through the crushy pipe and dash down again through the crushy pipe. You'll probably take a couple of tries to get the timing right on this. I know I did. And then you can head left through the water and the barriers here into the electrical conductor control. Same thing as before. This time there's only 2 switches to hit, but you're going to get a good chunk of practice at using this kinetic momentum thing to loop yourself around here, get yourself up as high as you can to hit the console at the top here. Super dash across to the left to hit the first switch, and then jump down and down here to hit the second switch. I'm going to try and find my footage on this so that I can put not necessarily a guide, but at least show you what it's supposed to look like. I'll see if I can overlay that in this video. If not, it'll be a separate guide on the channel if I can find the footage, because I don't know where I've put it. Once you've done 2 of the 3 control consoles, Quirk will leave you. It doesn't matter which 2 of the 3 that you do. You don't have to do them in this actual order. This is just the order that I found the easiest and arguably the quickest. Quirk will disappear. This is obviously a problem because we've got 3 consoles, but without Quirk, we can't activate the 3rd one. We need to do something about that. But for now, step 10 is done. Step 11 will put a new marker on your map. It will be green. I missed it for a good chunk of time. It's over to the right hand side of the map. To get there, there's actually a couple of ways, but one of them is really pissy. So we've gone for the slightly longer but easier route. From the conductor control, make your way back through into the main chamber and up to the teleporter. From the teleporter, get yourself to the overgrowth. Make your way back down to where you open the doors, and you can head right now into this special section over on the right hand side, which you have no way realistically of getting there before, because you need the water dash in order to get through this chunk. Grab yourself the subway fast travel while you are there. Make your way down through here. You can get through the doors here and take yourself up to Destination 12, the chair, for a cutscene. That's what the map marker looks like, incidentally. There is a big cutscene here. It's a story heavy cutscene. Stuff happens. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but that is where you need to go in order to regain the ability to use the consoles. Step 12. In order to get to the Sparkblood pump control, we need to get through this door here. And this door here is locked. And there's only one way of unlocking that door. So from the chair, you can save the game as per usual. Make your way all the way down. Take the subway to the middle or just run it. It's entirely up to you. Make your way all the way over to the left. You've got the water dash, or the swim dash, so you can get through this tunnel now as well. You can unlock this subway station if you haven't been here already. Here's a place that you can use your fuse if you want to, that you don't need to. There is an NPC in this area who will sell you batteries. If you found yourself short on energy, you can buy some batteries from him. You can also use, there's also one just lying around there if you haven't got any money on you. This entire section up here is optional. There is an optional boss. In order to get to the optional boss, you can make your way through there, but I highly recommend making sure you go via this room. There's an anti-gravity thing in the ceiling of this room. It will take you through to an NPC. Speak to the NPC before you kill the boss, otherwise you will miss out on, as far as I'm aware, the only missable augment in the game. But as I said, this entire area is optional. You can get here much earlier. This boss is a challenge. It's up to you. Realistically, what you should be doing after you've purchased yourself any batteries that you would like is head through to the mines. From the mines, teleport. Make your way through these things to the left. This is where all the crushers and conveyors were. You've got to loop yourself round here because you can't get up through these doors yet, so use your spin bounce and make your way up. There's some light reasonably heavy platforming actually at this point, but you've got pretty much all the tools that you need now to make your way up to this room to fight Cerebellum. Cerebellum is a challenging boss. There's a lot going on. It's quite a long fight if you've only got a blaster +1. If you've gone off the beaten track and got yourself a blaster +2, it will be much more manageable. But realistically, there's only so many places that you can really go at this moment in time to get the further upgrades. They are really off the beaten track, but you can explore for those for yourself. Once you have defeated Cerebellum, you're done with step 12. 2 more to go. After defeating Cerebellum, very, very straightforward realistically, but it does depend on whether you have equipped the Phase Blaster Augment or not. If you've equipped the Phase Blaster, you can go all the way down here and take a sneaky left, because the Phase Blaster can actually get you through this breakable wall, which is usually only breakable from the left hand side, but the Phase Blaster can actually shoot the thing that is keeping it shut, and you can go through that way. If you haven't got the Phase Blaster equipped, maybe because you haven't got enough energy spare, you can make your way down through here, down into this room which you've been to before, and super dash over to here. And in the ceiling, you'll see a couple of sparkly blocks. They're not really difficult to spot, but there's a passageway in the ceiling that will take you through into the left. And now you can get through this door because you've defeated Cerebellum. You can get here earlier, but you can't get through that door until Cerebellum is dead. Make your way down into this chamber here. There are 3 switches once again in this one. You will need to probably lob some bombs at them to give yourself a little bit of extra time. This one is very tight for timing. Took me a good chunk of time to get that. But that is Sparkblood Conductor control? No, Sparkblood pump control, I think that should be. And I think I just copied and pasted that. And that will be the 3rd and final key objective that you need to do. There'll be some more story stuff that happens there, but that is step 13 done. The final step. You could go and clean up the entire map if you wanted to now, or if you're speedrunning. You probably know the map quite well at this point if you're speedrunning. Get yourself all the way back to the life monitor room, the heartbeat room, whatever you want to call it, where you found Quirk in the first place. The door at the top will now be open. You can go through and you can finish the game. And that, folks, is the critical path, such as it is for Rebel Transmute. That's the way I did it. It works. I know it works because I actually went and tested it, because the first version of this video that I recorded didn't quite work as well as I'd hoped. So this is the second version of this, but everything on here works because I have tested it. Unless I encountered any bugs that have thrown me off, but I don't think I have. I think all the bugs with the actual routing have been fixed. There will be a copy of this diagram available in my Google Drive. It won't be like super high resolution, but it will be very easily readable. If you go to demajen.co.uk, scroll down to R, click on the icon for Rebel Transmute, it will take you to the Google Drive folder, which has got this as well as some other bits and pieces in. Obviously, this is not the full map guide that I created. That is available at my coffee.com store/shop, whatever you want to call it. If you want to see what that looks like, I'll overlay it on the screen now just so you can see what you are getting yourself into. But that's got everything marked on. It's got all of the weapon crystals, all of the optional bits and pieces that you can pick up, health upgrades, all of that kind of jazz. But this is the critical path as I did it. And it works. The only thing that you might struggle with is that the bosses, if you just follow the critical path, the bosses are going to be a real challenge. Even with the accessibility stuff turned on, they are a real challenge. But if you are lost and just want to know where to go, that is the order that I would do things in. Not a quick guide this, but hopefully that has taught you through how to get through the game. Not 100%, but enough to get you to a stage where realistically you're in the end game and you can go through and you can pick up whatever else you want. Hopefully this has been useful for you. If it was, let me know down in the comments below. If you have found it so useful that you want to give me some thanks, head on over to my coffee.com page, coffee.com/Demajen, where you can drop me a tip or a donation or whatever you want to call it, or maybe grab a copy of the full version of the map. Entirely up to you. Hopefully, I have helped regardless. Enjoy Rebel Transmute. I did. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.